This morning, tens of millions of Americans are waking up with a whole lot of uncertainty, not sure how they're going to pay for groceries to feed their families. Can you believe this? This is centered around the safety net program known as SNAP. And on average, the program supplies about $187 a month in benefits. That's about $750 for a family of four. Nearly 42 million people take part in the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, roughly 1 in 8 Americans. And amid all of this uncertainty, families are also trying to plan ahead. Today is the first day for some 24 million Americans to enroll in next year's Affordable Care Act insurance plans. With no congressional agreement on whether to subsidize those plans, prospective enrollees will likely see much higher premiums. We're going to take a deep dive on health care enrollment later in this hour. But first, we're going to get to those federal court rulings that impact SNAP payment funding, with decisions ordering the Trump administration to use emergency reserves to keep the food assistance benefit funded. Alex Bolton, senior staff writer at thehill.com, is live for us in Washington. Good morning. So where does the program stand right now, and what are we hearing from the president in response to those rulings, Alex?
Well, there are two district court rulings came out on Friday, one by a judge in Rhode Island, one by a judge in Massachusetts, both saying the same thing, which is essentially that ordering the Trump administration to use $5 billion in contingency funding in the SNAP program to pay out benefits this month in November. Now, the administration has taken the position that they were not legally allowed to pay money in the contingency fund. There's about $5 billion there. It's not enough to cover the entire month of November. It would cost $8 billion to pay SNAP benefits through the month of November. The Trump administration said that they were not allowed to use that. Court said this is the judge in Massachusetts says this looks like an emergency. You should explain to me by Monday how you're going to pay these benefits out. And then the judge in Rhode Island said that the administration needs to spend the contingency funds and then move to a second tranche once those run out. Now, what the president is saying is that he's calling these rulings conflicting, and he's waiting for further guidance from the court as to what the administration needs to do to pay out these benefits. And he said that unfortunately they're likely to be delayed because of the back and forth between his administration and the court. So the bottom line is people are probably going to see a lapse in their SNAP benefits early this week.
And that's why we're seeing food banks try to do everything they can. Even schools are doing canned food drives and things as a just in case. Alex, you're also learning more about where shutdown negotiations stand right now, including when we could see a potential deal and how lawmakers are considering keeping some programs funded in the meantime. What can you tell us?
Well, a group of Republicans and Democrats are meeting on Capitol Hill to reach some sort of deal to reopen the government this week. And a key inflection point is today with the expiration of the SNAP benefits, also the start of the open enrollment period. Another thing that lawmakers are looking towards is the elections in New Jersey and Virginia on Tuesday. Democrats don't want to cut a deal before those elections because they're worried that it might depress voter turnout. It might depress their base voters from turning out if it's seen that they're capitulating to Republicans on Capitol Hill. Now, there is discussion about voting on these so-called rifle shot bills to fund SNAP benefits during the shutdown. I think whether those move forward or not are going to depend on whether the government gets reopened this week. If they don't, there's going to be more pressure to vote on these bills specifically to fund SNAP benefits, to specifically fund air traffic controllers. But the White House and Senate Majority Leader John Thune, the top Republican leader in the Senate, they don't want to do those smaller bills. They want to keep the pressure on the Democrats to open the government, and they feel that the expiration of the SNAP benefits is putting pressure on Democrats to do just that.
Well, it's putting pressure on somebody, and the American people are feeling the brunt of it. Alex Bolton, thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.